Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. We all find it very difficult to speak in English with others, right? But however practice we have done, whatever things we know, the words, pronunciation, vocabulary, sentence construction, grammar, everything we know, but when it comes to speaking, we all hesitate. We all are not very confident of going ahead and speaking with people, right? And that is something which holds us back from speaking fluent English. Or at times, if we go ahead to speak in English, we forget words, we forget sentences, and we get blank while speaking in English. So these are the two situations we all have been exposed to, and we all have experienced that, right? Does this happen to you as well? Yes. Absolutely, it has happened to me as well. So, the first situation is we don't take courage and go out and speak to people in English because we are not very confident, we are not very fluent, we are not very sure whether we'll be able to speak well or not. Okay, and the second thing is when we take courage and we go out and speak to people in between or after starting with one or two sentences, we get blank. We get confused, we get blank, we get nervous, and we forget everything. We forget words, vocabulary, sentences, etc. So these are the two situations which are very real and which are very common, which has happened to every one of us. Okay, now how do we get rid of this situation? How do we overcome these situations? Is there any way which can help us to overcome these situations and save us from these situations and help us to speak English fluently and confidently anywhere on any topic with anyone? Yes, there is a way, and there's not one way, there are lot many ways. And today in this session, I am going to tell you how you can train your brain to start thinking in English so that you can talk on any topic with anyone, anywhere, very easily, fluently and confidently. That is my guarantee. So today I am going to talk to you about some practical methods or exercises or activity which is really going to help you to train your brain or activate your brain to start thinking in English so that tomorrow, whenever you are out and you have to speak in English, you have to have a conversation with people in English, you never go blank, you never feel short of words, or you don't hesitate, or you don't feel confident of speaking in English. Your brain will automatically recall everything or help you in speaking in English, for sure. On that note, welcome back. I am your communications coach and a soft skill trainer by profession, and I'm here to help you out with all your communications problems and to help you speak English fluently and confidently. And if you want to learn to speak English fluently and confidently in no time, easily, in a very practical, simple and interesting way, quickly subscribe my channel, like and share my videos, do write your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to press the notification icon so that you get all my videos on time, free of cost, and access to all the amazing content on this channel. So stay tuned, stay connected, and watch my entire video to master the skill. Now let's begin. So guys, it's very important to start thinking in English. We need to train our brain to start thinking in English. Our brain is a very vital part which helps us in learning a language and speaking a language, right? So everything is connected to brain. If your brain can access information or decode information, it becomes much easier for you to understand things and speak on it. Okay, so that is why everybody focuses on how to train your brain to think in English. If your brain starts thinking in English, if you're able to train your brain to think in English, your journey will be much, much, much easier to speak English fluently and confidently. Now, the most important thing is, guys, we are not an English speaking country. So we have to make an extra effort to start thinking in English. We don't listen to English every single day or every time, or since morning to evening. We don't listen to English language, right? Because we are not in an English speaking country. We either listen to our native language or Hindi, which we speak commonly. Okay. Apart from that, English is very rarely used, right? In offices also, during meetings and all, we use English. We talk in English, or school also, we speak in English. But there is a very limited duration which we spend there, right? But mostly we talk in our native language or Hindi. Okay, so that is the reason, that is the most important reason why we are not very fluent in English, or it takes a little more time for us to speak in English. Okay, and that is why our brain is also not very used to with this language, understanding or decoding the language. So that is why the first effort we have to take is we have to train our brain to think in English. Once the brain starts responding in English, things will be much easier for you to speak in English. Okay, now let's see how we can train our brain to start thinking in English. Now, there are lots of exercises which will help us in this or to accelerate this process of training our brain to think in English. Okay, the first activity which I am going to talk about is question and answer. Okay, now this is a very simple exercise. Listening to it seems like, we have to come up with questions and then we have to answer those questions and all. No, it's not only about that. I'm going to tell you how you can do this activity at home alone or with people, whatever you wish to. Okay, you can do it alone at home as well. Okay, so how do we practice question and answer? Now, take a situation. Now here, every time, whatever I tell you, whatever activity I say, I always pick up situations or scenarios. I don't talk about any random thing, a random topic or anything. I will prefer scenario or a situation and that also real life situation. Suppose you went to a college. You went to your college and you came back home. So there are a lot of things which has happened there, right? Recall one incident. You spoke to your friend, you spoke to your professor, or your professor took some sessions or a class on any subject, right, or any topic. So take that for instance and start coming up with questions. Like there are a lot of question sentences like who, when, where, why, which, how. Okay, take up one by one. For example, why? Why did I go to college? I went to college to attend the session. Okay. Where did you go? I went to the college and then I went to my classroom where the session was to happen. Was supposed to happen. When? When did I go to college? I went to college today. My session was at 10 o'clock, so I had to reach early. So I left early to reach the college on time. Where did you go today? I went to the college to attend my session. Which topic did you like the most? Start describing. The session was on social media. And I enjoyed this topic because there were a lot of things which the professor told us which I didn't knew. For example, digital arrest. Okay, so this is how you can talk about that session. And the last question is how? How was the session? Now, you can just describe the whole session, whatever you want to describe about the session. So guys, these are few question sentences. So take a scenario, take a situation and ask all these questions. And try to relate these questions to your situation and answer those questions. Probably sometimes you might not find any perfect answer for these questions. So you can skip one or two question sentences, but then majorly focus on these question sentences. Start asking questions and start answering them. The purpose of asking a question is to start answering those questions in a descriptive way, right? Where did you go? Now you went to college, but you have to add more sentences there. You don't have to stop there. Like, where did you go? I went to the college. No, you have to add something more there. You have to describe in 1 or 2 to 3 sentences. So where did you go? I went to the college. I had to attend a session on social media, and it was very important for me to attend this session. Okay, so try coming up with more and more sentences. Start adding sentences there. Okay, and it really helps, guys. We all have been brought up answering questions, right? In schools also, when we study a chapter, at the end of the chapter there were questions, right? And we had to answer those questions, and those questions used to come in our exams, right? So that is why we know how to answer questions. That is the easiest method of checking our understanding and knowing our progress, like how much we know about it, right? So take a situation, take a scenario, and come up with these questions, okay, and start answering those questions in 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 sentences to start with. And you can keep on adding sentences. Probably some questions will be very much descriptive, like how was the session? So you can describe the whole thing about it. How was the session? Okay. So likewise, you can just start using question sentences to start answering it. It is really going to help you in describing a situation very easily. Basically, you can take topics and you can start speaking about it, but then you will not be very particular about that. You will just randomly describe something, and when you start answering questions, you will be very particular about that, like what you have to answer. So that is why, so instead of taking a topic and randomly describing what has happened about it, what was the topic about, I'm asking you to come up with questions and start answering those questions, so that you will be more particular about things, and you will speak more specifically about things in detail. Okay, so this is why you start practicing question and answers to be more descriptive about a scenario or a situation. Okay, it will help your brain to start thinking in English, recalling everything what you have heard or you have listened to, or what you know about that particular thing. And since you're asking specific questions, your brain will directly get into the specific details. Okay, it will recall the specific details, not everything as a whole. So this exercise will help you to train your brain in thinking in English about any particular situation or scenario which has happened to you. Okay, which you have experienced or witnessed. So give it a try and you'll see the difference. It's very easy, very practical. You can take up very simple situations. What has happened to you this morning? What did you speak to your parents? What did you speak to your cousins? Or what did you chat over your phone? Anything, any scenario you can pick up, and you can start putting up questions and start answering those questions to yourself in front of the mirror, in front of the video camera, whatever you are convenient with, comfortable with. Okay. So this is first. The second one is, you can pick up a word, any word you can pick up, and start thinking about related words. Now this is an activity which is kind of a flow chart. Okay, pick up a word, like for example, I pick up a word like flower. So start thinking about related words. What all words you can relate when you listen this word, when you think about this word flower. Probably color, beautiful, smell, honeybee, garden, leaves, colorful, right? So these are the words related to flower. So what you can do here is, you can take a notebook or your notepad or your laptop, whatever you are comfortable with. Take up that, write the related words down there, and once you are done with writing related words, start building up a story. Now, it need not to be a story right? Start building up a description about it. Now, whatever you have noted down, like I spoke about flower. When I spoke about this word flower, the related words I spoke were garden, honeybee, smell, colorful, leaves, right? So I can just come up with a description about this flower. I saw a very beautiful flower, or I saw a very colorful flower in the garden today. It had a nice smell and it looked so beautiful. Right? So this is how I came up with 2 sentences about it. Right? So this is how you can keep on adding sentences. You can be creative. Take out some time to do this exercise. So come up with a word, start writing down related words, as many words as you can, and start building up a story, or start coming up with a description around that word. It is really going to help you guys, because these are very random topics and you are putting your brain to think about it. Like, what next? If I've chosen flower, what next? Honeybee. Oh, honeybee was there on the flower. So honeybee, or colorful flower, or the smell was nice. Smell. So all this. So you are putting your brain to action. You're putting your brain to exercise how to come up with new words related to that particular word. Okay, and once that activity is done, you can just come up with a small description about what you were thinking, or what you have thought, or how you can relate those words together. Right? So very interesting activity, guys. Take it seriously, start doing it. It won't take much of your time, and you can start with basic simple words, like you can take a color, you can take a table fan, you can take a bench, you can take a garden, you can take a tree, whatever you like. You can take a bird also, a plant also, or anything else, a road, a traffic, a signal, people, an office, a college, a school, anything you can take up and just come up with some related words and try to connect those words and come up with a description or a story around it. Okay, so this is a very creative, entertaining, engaging, and a very helpful, practical and simple idea as well. Try doing this exercise. You will definitely enjoy it, and it's really going to help you a lot in training your brain to think in English. Now, why these exercises I'm recommending? Now, if you start doing these random sessions or random activities, it will help your brain to think in English. So next time when you're talking to somebody in English or having a conversation in English, your brain will immediately decode that language and will start sending signals to speak in English, and will help you to recall words and situations and scenarios and sentences and everything else, which will help you to speak in English. Okay, so this is the reason why I've come up with these activities, to start training your brain to start thinking in English. Okay, the last activity is very, very, very interesting. I love this activity, and I'm sure you will also love this activity. The last activity is, you can do vlogging or teaching or mentoring. Now, listening to it sounds very difficult, right? But it's not difficult. What I mean by this is, what you can do is, when you are watching any vlog here, we all do watch, right? We all love watching vloggers. Okay, some people come up with daily vlogs about their personal life, or gadgets, or their cars, or anything else like travel or cooking or lifestyle or skincare, anything, gardening, etc., etc. And we all love watching some or the other vlogs. So when you're watching those vlogs, pay attention to how the person is expressing himself or herself. What is he or she saying? Right? What is the content? How are they expressing themselves? What story they are telling? How they are describing a situation, or whatever they have described in the video. Take note of all these things. And once that is done, take your camera, start your video, and start recording it in the same way, right? What that person has said in his video. So in his or her video. So you can just start exploring these activities. You can start vlogging. You can just start imitating vloggers. This is the best way to represent this. Okay, so you can start imitating your favorite vlogger in English part. You can watch in any language, but start imitating that vlogger in English. Collect his ideas, his or her ideas, write it down and start expressing those thoughts in English. Okay, on your own, in that style. It will be very helpful. It's very creative, entertaining and engaging as well. In the beginning, you might feel it very difficult, but coming up with 2 or 3 sentences or 4 sentences is not difficult. If you know something, if you're interested in doing something, and if you're listening to somebody very carefully, it will not be difficult for you to express that idea in your own words. Jot down the ideas, come up with 3-4 sentences and start talking about it. See how you perform. Right? See how you perform. But try getting in the habit of doing these activities. It is definitely going to help you. So one is vlogging. Okay, imitate vloggers, your favorite vlogger. Next is you can do teaching. I have been doing it. I did it since I was a child. I always told you how I learned English speaking. I used to come back home and it was my favorite thing to do. I used to dress up like my teacher and I used to take a chalk and a blackboard and I used to write on the board and I used to speak like my teacher, imagining that I am addressing a classroom. There were no students there, but I was just thinking that I am taking a class. There are students, there's a blackboard, there's a chalk and I'm a teacher. And I used to start teaching students whatever topic I've heard today, that day, from my teachers. I used to take up the topic and I used to start addressing a virtual classroom. So you can do teaching also, whatever topic you can take up, you have heard in a video or a vlog, or if you're a student, you will have a lot of topics, of course, right? So you can take up those topics and you can start speaking on it as if you're a teacher. So you can do a role play or you can imitate your teacher. Okay, if you're an office going person, you have a lot of tasks there also. Whatever you've done that day or whatever you have learned something new that day, you can just start speaking about it, or what your manager said, how he took a meeting or whatever, any scenario you can take and you can start speaking on that, any topic, right? As if you are in charge of that situation and you're taking a meeting, or you are, addressing people about certain issues, or you are a client, for example, and you are taking that meeting. So you can just take the topic and you can start speaking like your client, like your manager, like your senior or team lead, or probably as an engineer. Okay, if you have some doubts, how do you speak about it? How you can address that? So there are lots of situations. You can start imitating those situations and you can take hold of that situation and start speaking about it. Okay, so this is another way. Or mentoring. You can just imagine that you are mentoring somebody and you can just start speaking to a virtual person about anything, whatever you want to mentor, on whichever topic you want to mentor. Probably you can take up English language also. You want to teach people English, to speak English fluently and confidently, and you can just start speaking, mentoring that virtual class. Okay, so these are very easy activities which I've just spoken about. Start taking it seriously, guys. It's fun, engaging, entertaining, and very easy, very simple, and very practical. If you start using these activities, it will definitely help your brain to start thinking in English. And the next time you are speaking in English with anyone, anywhere, anytime, on any topic, your brain will definitely help you with words, sentences, decoding the language and understanding the language easily and effectively. So guys, that's it for today. I'll see you in my next session. Until then, keep learning, keep speaking, keep watching and keep exploring. See you. Bye-bye and take care.